Today I want to talk about a recent client situation where this lady, she lives outside the US in Costa Rica actually, and she's been taking the Foreign Earned Income Exclusion but was recently laid off from her US job, and she's going to be receiving a severance pay as well as potentially applying for unemployment income. She wants to understand how this impacts her living abroad. How does the Foreign Earned Income Exclusion work? So what we're going to be talking about today is an overview of the Foreign Earned Income Exclusion and how it applies to her situation. Is she still going to be eligible for it? What types of income does it apply to, and how it applies to severance specifically and unemployment income. If you're new to my channel, my name's Alex McGowan. I am the owner of McGowan Tax LLC, where we help individuals and small businesses comply with the US tax laws when it comes to international transactions and owning assets outside the US, as well as helping you save money when you move outside the US and do things internationally. So in this specific situation, we're dealing with an individual who is living in Costa Rica, and she was currently earning the Foreign Earned Income Exclusion on $125,000 or so of salary. So this was saving her about $25,000 a year in federal income taxes, which is a pretty good deal. But then she got laid off, unfortunately. And so she's gonna be receiving severance of about $30,000 in the year she was laid off. And then on top of that, she's considering applying for unemployment income. So the question is, how does the Foreign Earned Income Exclusion continue to apply in that situation? When you look at the definition of foreign earned income, it may seem a little bit obvious looking at it at first, but the first part of this is that it has to be foreign and it has to be earned income. And those are defined terms within the Internal Revenue Code. In particular, it has to be earned income in that it has to be from the performance of services. So think about employment income. If you're liking this video, you should really check out my newsletter where I put out different tips and tricks, latest law changes that can really help you save money and save complexity if you're living or investing abroad. Just think how much you could save with the right tax advice. Self-employment income, that's a receipt of income for the performance of your services, and that's defined as earned income. So that's where it gets a little tricky with severance, is that it's clearly related to your employment, but will the IRS consider it earned income? Luckily, they have specifically ruled on this that the severance is related to earned income, because it is specifically, you wouldn't have received it if you weren't earning a salary in the first place. So it is eligible for the Foreign Earned Income Exclusion. The second part of it though is we have to make sure that it's considered foreign. To determine whether it's foreign and eligible for this exclusion, it has to be related to services you provided outside the US. If you always only worked outside the US, then you're good to go. It's going to be excludable. But if you were spending some time in the US and doing work for that job, then we have to figure out and apportion part of that income as US sourced as opposed to foreign sourced. And that can get a little complicated. We have to look at the actual severance agreement contract to see what period of time that severance is covering, and then we'd get your US days and do some sort of apportionment. In general, as long as it's related to foreign income and your performance of services outside the US, this severance is going to be eligible for the Foreign Earned Income Exclusion. Unemployment income, on the other hand, is unfortunately not. Although there's not a specific ruling on it from the IRS like there is with the severance pay, there is under the regulations on the definition of earned income. Unemployment income would not fall under that because it's not really from the performance of services. It's more just a governmental benefit for the loss of your job. And on top of that, you really need to take into account whether you need to apply for it in the first place. In this person's case, what I'm going to ask her is, how quickly does she think she's going to get another job? Or I think she wants to start another business, and so then it's a question of what are your potential for earning income from that business and how quickly? Because if you start making money again in that year, it's going to affect what you're eligible for in the first place. And it depends on the state specifically as to, how you phase out of unemployment income. But the first step for that is seeing, is it worth applying in the first place? But what I'm going to tell this person is, let's look at your severance agreement and see what period it applies to. In her case, she's always outside the US, so we know that she can take the Foreign Earned Income Exclusion on this $30,000. The unemployment income, if she does go forward with that, she just needs to be aware that she's going to have to pay a little bit of US tax because it's going to be considered other ordinary income to her and not eligible for that exclusion. So that's her situation with the severance and the unemployment income. If you have similar questions, or you're thinking about moving abroad, or maybe you already live abroad and have questions about how your income is taxed in the US, feel free to reach out to us. Check us out on YouTube for some free information, or reach out to us through the website and get a free cross-border tax diagnosis today. If you're enjoying this video, please take a minute to like and subscribe to our channel and leave a comment below.